It started with needing a lot of sleep, finding it very difficult to focus, concentrate, think, motivated. There'd be some days I could only work 15 minutes the entire day. I just couldn't bring myself to get it together. Just sitting on the couch, just can't get up, can't get moving, tired, slothful, everything's dragging. And I'm still occasionally there, but I'm doing a lot better these days.
Inside of the city, the people are crazy, out of their minds, they ain't got a clue. We gone away, headed west for Montana, left family and friends, all I got now is you. We both got new jobs, a house and a homestead, thinking this was the life, all that there'd be. After our firstborn, you had to stay home. That's when the work got in the way for me. Well, I started FarmHopLife. We'll come to your farm to help and to wander. Me and the family, a truck and an RV. Send us a message and there will be.
This is the FarmHopLife podcast, a traveling homestead family. I'm Matt DeRozier. Today my guest is Christopher de Vidal. I don't know. He doesn't know either. It's all right.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't know how to pronounce my own last name, and I've heard it officially from people in. It's a French name, and I've heard people say de Vidal or du Vidal, and I just don't call me late for dinner.
There you go. He is the passionate builder of SecureFarm Homestead Automation, living in Hollister, Florida. He and his wife, Charisse, along with the 3 kids, are starting a small homestead with trees, plants, bees, and are planning soon to bring in chickens, ducks, ponds, and rabbits. And if you're on MeWe, it's hard to miss Christopher because he was like the MeWe meme lord of MeWe. Like it's just. Dude, you're all over the place with the.
All right.
So how you doing tonight?
Oh, much better than I deserve. You know, my dad was a semi-professional comedian. Clown. He was a semi-professional clown. He went to clown school, and he just always loved making people laugh. And I picked up that from him. And so memes are a great way for a guy that's tired a lot to just make people laugh, just share people, make people think and laugh and enjoy life. So,
sure.
Yeah,
that makes sense. If you're wondering about, for those listening, any background noise, Christopher works late at night and he's outside of a Whole Foods using their Wi-Fi. So if you hear any weird noises, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's homeless. He's just on a bench outside Whole Foods.
Yeah. But I am working away from home, and that's one of the things I wanted to mention tonight. Is how I would, if I wanted to move out if I want to save money, and this is what we did. We moved out to the country. I commute into town, which is like an hour and a half, too far to do every day. I mean, you could do it, but I value my time too much. So I commute into town. I sleep in my car, and I just scrub up and go in and. It's great. It works great. Save a lot of money that way.
Sure.
And you could do that in just about any car. I've got a van, but we're thinking about downsizing to a Corolla. So where there's a will, there's a way. So the only trick is hey, I've got a podcast I got to be on. So where am I going to find Wi-Fi? So I think, I'll just go over to the Whole Foods. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your homestead journey because you're just starting. It kind of sounds like you're kind of just starting out or about to expand. Like, how did you get started?
Yeah. So, do you want to see pictures now, or do you want to?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. This is the world right now, and this is my silly little garden that I'm staying sane with.
Nice. Yep.
It's a meme. um, next, so we got this section of my mother-in-law's property. We're saving money and we're living in an RV, and it's great. We're just loving it. We plop down on the RV out there. We've got all of our basic needs met and a lot of our wants as well. And it's just beautiful. Just look out, like, you can see the rain coming in there. It's not very large. The whole area of the property that we're personally responsible for is about an acre. And half of that is forest. So you might think of that in permaculture as, I believe, up in zone 5. But so we've got really only about a quarter of an acre of growing space.
Okay.
And we're filling that out. And her mom has plenty of room as well. So as we overflow, she's got a total of 2.5 acres. So between the two, we'll have plenty of room to spread and do trees and fun things like that.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, so the first one is I just transplanted these aloe. We got plenty of aloe coming in. They're looking a little sick because they just got put in, but aloe, but the centers are green, and that's healthy, and that's making me happy. So glad about that. Good. We have some anise hyssop, some autumn olive, balsam, calendula, beans, cucumbers, bok choy. Down in the lower right corner are some sweet potatoes that I planted last year, and they decided to come up through the weed cloth. They're very vigorous, so I'm happy to see those.
Can you go back one?
Yeah.
Those are interesting. Both. You got two different kinds of raised beds going on.
Yeah.
You got like almost like, I don't know what those are. The reddish
tomato
ones,
planters
on cinder blocks, and then the ones in the foreground that are black. Are those like just, I don't know, just raised, like they're meant to be raised beds, like they got like leaves on them already?
Yeah, they are. They
okay.
They're the ones in the rear are like tomato style cages. That the holes in the bottom there are meant to hold water, and they reach down, sort of crack key style.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's sort of like an earth tainer, one of those things.
Okay.
And in Florida, raised beds, raised containers don't do so well, but she's trying them out anyway, and I'm thinking we really need to get them in the ground.
Is it because of the heat? Like the soil just dries out too much?
Yeah, one of the benefits of raised beds is that the soil gets warmer faster, and we don't need that.
Sure.
We don't need that at all. So one of the ways that you, in keeping with the theme of this talk, is that one of the ways that you do survival regenerative gardening is by just really understanding well your climate, your soil, and how that's going to work. But even though these are not ideal, we're still getting good growth out of at least the bok choy. They're very happy there. I had a little meal the other day. She made some had the bok choy in it.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's a beauty berry, and they're native, and they grow like crazy, like weeds. And they are a bright pink purple. I wish I had thought to bring up a picture of them, but the berries are a bright pink purple, and they just look. They live up to their name. They're beautiful. It's more beauty berry. It just pops up everywhere. This is a Bolivian sunflower. It's a great for a chop and drop, and you just stick it in the ground in the sandy soil, and it just comes up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this is camellia, apple, bay laurel, and society garlic, and along with that are a lot of weeds that are bahia grass, the grass that's in between, the bird water and all that is a kind of a weed around here. It comes up, looks like a letter Y, and I would have chopped it all down for this presentation, except when I got out there and I started walking one day. I realized there are bees everywhere in the Bahia grass. They are going nuts for it. And I didn't know that was a heavy, that pollinators depend on that. So I'm not.
Are they aggressive?
What's that?
Are they aggressive bees?
No, they're just honeybees, and then they might be from a hive that fled. I had 2 hives last year, and they might even be from my hive. So they are foraging in on those Bahia grass, and I mean you could stand out in the morning and you just hear bees everywhere. So I am not hesitant to. I mean, not in a hurry to chop down those weeds. I'm just going to let them grow, and they'll pull up the biomass from the soil way down. Like weeds like to do, and they'll collect all the nutrients. I'll chop them, drop them, and they'll deposit their nutrients right on the surface for the plants that I need. So I'm not sweating these weeds popping up. This is you might recognize as comfrey.
Oh, nice. I actually just planted mine for the first time ever. I got some from Brian at the Loft Project.
Okay, excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a TSP guy also.
Right. Yeah, I haven't talked with him, but I know who he is. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And we got some cucumbers and beans. And
Nice.
Let's see, regular cucumbers. Now this is a deerberry, and it's a native, and it just popped up, and deers love it, and you can make fruit out of it. And I just started wandering around my property with my my phone in hand. I've got an app called Picture This on the iPhone, and then on Android it's I wrote it down. It's I forget. It's on. There's one for Android, and I just started wandering around and said, "What's this?" And identify. Oh, that's actually useful. And looking around, there are tons of berries and medicine plants and all kinds of things just all around.
Dude, those apps. It's funny you bring that up because the last interview I did, that by this time, people listening to this, it will be published. There's it's Seeker, Seeker. What is it? It's just Seek by iNaturalist, which is part of by National Geographic and stuff. It uses AI to recognize plants or whatever. It's ever since I downloaded. So the guy Simon, he recommended it to me, and ever since I downloaded it, I've been very aware of plants in my area, and I'm like, oh, that looks weird. I'm like, when I go and scan it, and I was on a job site last week, and I saw this odd looking flower. It looked kind of cool, and so I'm like, what the heck is that? And so I scanned it. I forgot the name, but it's turns out it's poisonous and it can kill cattle and stuff. And I was like, whoa! Good thing I haven't seen that on my property. That's on someone else's property. Yeah,
and those things are scary accurate. I definitely recommend anybody get it, especially in these times. Get it, start using it, and just practice it and find what's around you, because you will find lots of stuff around you.
Yeah, and you become just more aware of your surroundings. Just ooh, that flower is a little bit different than that flower, but these are both types of mustard. Yep. That kind of stuff.
So we got dewberries that just popped up. These are like blue blackberries, very similar, but they're more. I guess I wouldn't say they're. I don't. The thorns are a little bit smaller. The berries are a little bit tighter, but they're basically a blackberry, and they're very vigorous, and they love Florida. And they just come up everywhere. Dusty Miller. That is a. My wife won't plant anything unless it's either food or supports food, and so this would be something that I don't know the purpose, but it's a pretty little plant. There is an elderberry. Now this one came from a volunteer that popped up in our yard 2 houses ago, and so she encouraged it, and then we moved to the second house, and she brought a cutting with her, and she was growing that, and it was in a pot, and then we moved again out here in the woods, and there was she brought the pot with the soil and just dumped it on the ground and in the compost pile, and it started coming up. And I pulled out the plant ID app, and there's an elderberry.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Plants are crazy, man.
I know. So I moved this one to the fence line. All right, so we got in Florida, tomatoes don't do well, except one particular variety just explodes, and this one's called an Everglades tomato.
Oh,
and they're cute little things. They're about the size of marbles. They're just little, and they explode with flavor, and they just come back year after year. They're a great little plant. They seem to thrive on neglect. You don't have to baby them or anything.
That stem kind of looks like a guy that's like picking up like 2 tomatoes, and he's got like 2 tomatoes on his feet. That's funny.
We got figs. Figs are happy in Florida. So I'm emphasizing things that are happy in Florida, and I know a lot of your viewers are not in Florida, but I'm emphasizing these sorts of things because one of the ways that I do my survival regenerative gardening for chronic fatigue is I need to look for the stuff that is just most happy where I'm at. So if you're in Colorado, you're going to look for the stuff that's happiest in Colorado. And if you're in New York, you're going to start looking around for the stuff that's happy. The mistake that a lot of people make, and I did it too, is, I really like that variety, or I like that thing, I want to grow it here. And it's just a real challenge. But
this is helpful for sure. Because when this does get published, on the website, I've got a map, and I drop a pin, So, for you, I'm going to drop a pin on Hollister, Florida.
Yeah.
And it's going to have a link to our interview on YouTube. And so whoever visits, be like, oh, whoa, Florida, cool. And what works for homesteading in Florida? Let's listen.
Yeah,
so that's the idea.
Okay.
Oh.
And then we have it's Galangal Ginger. Galangal Ginger. I'm not sure about that one, but my wife planted that one, and it's looking good. Gaillardia, pretty little flower. And then this guy we call Gordito. Since we put in a lot of these plants, we're just seeing life come, and these are in Florida. We've got these fat little anoles that crawl over everything, and they're very bold. Mm-hmm. But this one's a little unique. He's the color of tree bark, which I've never seen before, and he's fat. So his middle is wider than typical anole. Sure. They're a lot slimmer, and so she calls him Gordito.
I actually had a pet anole in 3rd grade or whatever. we had 20 of them or something like that in our class, and had to put your name in to draw at the end of the thingy to see if you could win it. And I won one, and that thing lasted 3 years.
Yeah.
I kept it for 3 years. That was cool.
Yeah, you wouldn't
accidentally cut its tail off with putting the lid back on the cage. Its tail was stuck and I didn't see it, and so
man.
It just freaked out, and but the tail had a little nub on it, it was starting to regrow.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you wouldn't need to win any contests here. You just walk outside and they're by the dozens.
Dude, I'm from Minnesota. There's no lizards.
No lizards.
I guess salamanders, but
yeah, okay. Yeah, they're everywhere, and the little guys are so bold that you can walk almost right up to them, and they'll just do little push-ups like they're threatening you, what's up? And then this one is she made 3 gray water traps. We have an RV, we have 2 RVs rather, and they dump the gray water, and then we have a washing machine, and so we have 3 traps all surrounded by bananas. So she dug a hole, put mulch in the center, and put bananas all around to absorb all that water. Bananas are very thirsty plants, and they just love, so when you can dump that water constantly, they'll recycle that, and it's just beautiful. It's just a wonderful way that works.
Nice. That's super cool.
That is, yeah. So it was great to be able to use that again. African marigolds. We have a beehive. It's vacant this year, and with us moving in, I said I need to just keep it vacant. Let's try again next year. They fled, both of them, and I don't know what exactly I did wrong. So we'll have to try again. I've got some good beekeepers at our church, so we'll keep up with them.
Nice.
Kale and beans. This is called Katuk or Katuk. It's like a multivitamin, very high in protein.
Can you spell that out?
Katuk. Let's see how you spell it. Katuk.
Cool.
Yep.
I remember that.
All right, so we got here some marigolds, purslane, some calendula. There's some mini tomatoes. I mean, really mini. They're like 6 inches tall. They're hiding behind the green beans there.
Huh.
And very small little guys. And then beans and cucumbers, bok choy. This is a project we just got done today. She sent me the pictures today. We're digging a new compost trench. And so that's one of the methods that we found is very useful is digging. In Florida, instead of going up, you go down. You go down into the soil.
Okay.
We're digging down there. We're going to fill that with all sorts of fun stuff.
Is that just like straight sand and like 1 inch of topsoil top? Like the most?
It's not entirely sand, but it's like 80% sand. It's just
it looks like a lot of sand.
It is. There's a little bit of loam, but you get a lot of sand there, and so you have to sort of think about your plants. Like we have the opposite problems a lot of people have. Like so instead of too much moisture, like it just shoots right through it. You can put compost on, and in days it's gone. You put wood chips down, and it like eats it alive. You're fighting geology when you're working with this kind of sand, and so there's some tricks and tips that I picked up from a guy named David Goodman, or otherwise named David the Good. You heard of him?
No.
Okay, so David Goodman is an excellent resource for a Florida homesteader. He's approaching it with low cost if you're cash strapped. Survival, and his website is thesurvivalgardener.com. So he writes largely from a Florida perspective, but he tries to, include other states as well.
That sounds interesting. I'm gonna have to look into him.
Yeah, you really ought to, especially. A lot of his stuff is just generic, so it works. He wrote a great book on compost called Compost Anything. And he really, really means that. In fact, he wears a shirt that says "Compost Your Enemies."
Nice. I like that.
There's some pentas. The bees love that. Now, this is a Permaculture Guild that is being started. This was a pile of wood chips.
Okay.
We moved all the wood chips, placed them and where they belong, and then so this is the start of it, and then this is it planted.
Hey, cool.
In the center is an Arbequina olive, which is. There are very few olives that like the Florida climate, and Arbequina does well. Texas sage, arrowroot, roselle hibiscus, tarragon, golden seal, chicory, buttonflower, sweet majoram, bee balm, and salvia.
Salvia? You planted salvia?
That's what she did. I hadn't looked into salvia. Why do you react that way? Tell me something I don't know.
It might be a different salvia, but it's back when I was a teenager. Anyways, salvia was like synthetic weed, and it would get you like high as hell.
Wow.
High as hell.
Wow. No, not that. I don't. Unless she got it for medicinal value.
Hey, no judgment. It doesn't matter to me. I just never heard of anyone planting salvia.
No, we don't do that. No.
In the lower right corner, is that did you just mushroom spawn, or did
that looks like mushroom spawn. I don't remember that being there, but as we're talking, I'm looking at it and going, that looks like mushrooms. So because that was a wood chip pile, I wouldn't be surprised.
Sure.
And we want mushrooms. That's good fungus.
Yeah.
This here in the foreground is a pineapple guava.
Oh.
Yep. So
What does that mean? What's a pineapple guava?
Yeah, it's going to grow into a guava, but I think the pineapple means that it kind of has a pineapple flavor. That's about all I know.
Oh, cool.
She's been doing a lot more than I have. This is one of the tricks of if you're chronic fatigue is to find a partner who's willing to get out there.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, her mom was born a homesteader, so when I married her, she was not really doing that much in homesteading or gardening or anything. It wasn't interesting to her. But I saw, you asked me how we got started. I saw in 2007, I saw things were just getting bad and getting worse, and that we're starting to have that meltdown financial crisis. I said I really need to learn how to grow my own food, and so I started getting outside and growing stuff. And she came with me, and she's shot right past me. She's just gone, picked up her mom's homesteading gene and just gone nuts. It's like her favorite thing to do is get out there. So she's doing a lot of it. All right, so we have some wildlife coming in. We got now a little rabbit, and I like what Jack Spirko says: is you're growing a rabbit garden. I'm not worried at all about him eating my sweet potatoes because if it comes time, I can just go out and harvest them. And I eat a carnivore diet, so that wouldn't be too difficult at all. Just put the rabbit in the fryer, or catch them and use them to raise a family of rabbits. I suppose. I don't know.
I honestly thought about getting rabbits and just like breeding them, and then just letting them all go and just like boost the rabbit population around my place, so I wouldn't have to keep them myself. And they'll just figure it out on their own. The eagles near me will be plenty happy, and the owls and dogs, I guess. But just low maintenance. Just like it gives me an excuse to start like learning how to trap.
That's a good idea. So this one is there are very few squash that like Florida. This one loves Florida. It's called a Seminole pumpkin, excuse me. And
Seminole pumpkin. Okay.
Seminole pumpkin, and it's like the Everglades tomato. It just thrives on neglect. You just put it in the ground, and it just goes nuts. I don't have to do anything to it. It just goes all over and it spreads like crazy. But it's so beautiful. The flowers I'll show you there's a little pumpkin growing. The flowers are. Oh, I didn't have the picture. I had a picture. I thought I included it. That this flower you can see is bigger than my hand. It's just a huge, huge flower, and it draws in the sweat bees, and they're out there in the morning and getting the pollen out of it. And it's a real ephemeral. It only shows for a day, and then it goes away. The flower does.
Just a day, huh?
Yep, just a day. Then another flower comes up next to it. This is called a very interesting plant. I wish I got a video of it. It's called a sensitive briar, and I love the little pompons. It's great for pollinators, and it's a nitrogen fixer. But the sensitive briar, when you touch the leaves, you can see on the bottom there they look like sort of like palm fronds. When you touch those leaves, they instantly curl up like they're afraid.
Huh? That's like an avatar thing.
Yeah. It is. It's a lot like an avatar. It's just wild. It would be like a Venus flytrap. It has that it's that response. If you touch it just instantly starts to curl, and then after a few hours it relaxes. But it's a neat little plant.
Interesting.
And there's more of it. Just grows. It's a wild plant, and it
looks like a fern.
Yeah, it's a kind of a mimosa. It's a relative to the mimosa. If you have any mimosa up there.
I don't know.
Okay, so around here, mimosa are everywhere, and they're invasive, but they are nitrogen fixers, and they're very. They just grow everywhere. They're a beautiful little plant, though. Strawberries. More strawberries.
Nice.
There's a better picture of those sweet potatoes that decided to just come up through the weed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, through the weed cloth. They're just so aggressive.
Well, you did say that your ground just eats through stuff, so apparently it eats through ground cover as well, or like weed barrier.
But now David recommended sweet potato. David Goodman recommended sweet potatoes as a Florida crop, and he was right about that. And I found a particular variety at a grocery store. I just went to the grocery store. In fact, it was at this Whole Foods that I picked it, and I just you put it in a pot. You let it come up with the slips. You pluck those off and you put it in the ground. It's one of the simplest ways to get going, and a single sweet potato will give you just dozens of slips. You can make you can cover your property with in a couple of years with sweet potatoes just from one plant, just one tuber. So it's an excellent survival crop. And this one also is an excellent survival crop. It's called a Dioscora. I think it's bulbifera or alata. I can't remember, but it's the true yam, and it's invasive in Florida. You can go around in the woods and see it, yams growing, and you dig them up, and the root is can be up to 10 pounds. So it's like digging up a sack of potatoes.
Dang.
Yes.
That's kind of cool that it spirals around that hoop there. That's
neat. And if I let it, it would take over this entire greenhouse. It's just I'm going to have to move it. I just had it there for the time being, but I'm going to have to move it.
How do you move it?
It's in a pot right now, so I haven't yet put it in the ground. But when I put it in the ground, I'm going to have to let it make a trellis and let it climb the trellis and just chop the arms from going sideways. Because it's just going to go happy if you just let it. But what a good problem to have, letting it's a true yam, so it's like a carb. Yeah. This one is called white flowering yarrow, and then in the background is that kata.
Oh, yep.
And that is the short tour of the de Vidal homestead.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
I've got maybe after the show, I'll do some bonus stuff. That's I kind of forgot to preface that. That after I like to talk a little bit, just kind of BS a little bit, little bit of bonus content. I have more questions, but I want to get through my initial questions first.
All right, sure. Yeah, you started to ask a question, and we went off into the slideshow, but you asked to help get started in
we do that sometimes.
What's that?
I said, yeah, we do that sometimes. We get off on a tangent.
It happens. Right. Well, it was, as I mentioned, it was. I'll go back. My wife Cherise, she had a thyroid issue, and she had allergies with her the medicine. The medicine was actually giving her an allergic reaction. And she tried different thyroid medicine, nothing. So the doctor put her on a anti-allergy diet called Feingold. Now Feingold helps children with ADHD, and so she appreciated that so much that she got involved, and for a while she was on the board of directors with them. So while we're doing that, one of their top recommendations is to remove artificial ingredients from your diet. So that helps so many kids, 17 out of 20 kids go off of their ADHD medicines just by removing artificial colors, flavors, preservatives. So
dang.
Yeah, it's a big impact. So we would go shopping at Whole Foods, and there's a local health food store. And one day I was in there looking at a book, and it's talking about the vegan diet. So I should try that. I did that for 5 years. The first 2 years were great. I loved it. Felt good. And then the last 3, my health just declined and collapsed. But during that time was the 2007 financial crisis, and I'm like, I want to do gardening, and then my health is declining. So sort of bumbling along and stumbling along. I expected a financial collapse to come any day now, but I was just worried and tired, and just sort of figuring things out as best I could. Well, it was 2016, and we had a hurricane. And in Florida, when you have a hurricane, it's usually not a big deal, but this one's coming close. And so I said, I'm going to take our family. We took our RV, took my mother-in-law, took the whole family up into Georgia, and we decided to camp out there. And we were just really enjoying ourselves. But we had to hurry back. And I said, oh, man, it'd be great if mother-in-law had a chicken coop door opener, or she was keeping our family's backup. She was keeping our family's chickens, and she had to hurry back, to let the chickens out. So it'd be great if she had a chicken coop door opener. She could take a break every now and then. I said I was enjoying myself, but little side story. While we were in the RV, woke up one morning, and I woke up to chewing something spicy. And I immediately knew what it is. Now, to tell you, I have a mild ant phobia, a phobia of ants. And I knew immediately, this is an ant. I'm chewing an ant.
What?
I turned the light on.
You were eating an ant.
I was eating an ant. I was chewing an ant.
It crawled into your mouth while you were sleeping.
Yes. I turned the light on, and over my left shoulder, I look, and there's 10 or 12 ants right there on my pillow. And I mean, I tell you, I have an ant phobia. I scream like a girl. I woke up everybody, jumped out of bed.
That's super startling.
I jumped out of bed, turned the lights on, and there were ants everywhere. I had put the power cord for the RV down onto an ant pile, and they followed that up into the RV.
Oh no!
So we're going back to Florida. We're not going to enjoy this
in your RV.
In the RV, yeah.
Oh,
I'm just thanking God that none of them were They weren't the biting kind, because in Florida we have fire ants, and you do not want to get bit by fire ants. These weren't biting. So we're going back to Florida, and I get back home and we unpack, and I think I should probably look and see if they have a coop door opener that she could have. She wouldn't have to stay so close to the home all the time. I get online and I realize that there's coop door openers, but they're dumb. And I'm working IT, right? So I'm thinking, if it fails, when it fails, not if, when it fails, how am I going to know? I would, if I were to do it, I'd have one that has monitoring and redundancy, heartbeats, and all that stuff. I'm an IT guy. I'm approaching this like an IT problem to keep the chickens very safe. And I said, I should probably make one for her. And then I got thought, I should probably sell one. And it was just the week prior that I heard Jack Spirko talking about an automation business. Like you should look into doing a business with automation. And so that was fresh on my mind. And I said, I should probably sell one. So I began to work then on that product called SecureCoop that is going to eventually turn into SecureFarm, which is just going to, it's a core, right now the initial product, it opens the door, closes it, sends notifications to your phone. But it would be easily to add new accessories, like, watching you have an electric fence. The sheep got out, or the pigs got out because the electric fence was off and nobody knew. So it would be real easy to extend it with security and motion sensors and cameras and things like that. So I'm building this platform, starting with the chicken coop, and we'll work outward from there. And it's the first one's called SecureCoop.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, it's going to have things like, air sensors and humidity sensors and leg band trackers and things like that. I'm thinking I might do self-moving chicken tractors. I'd like to do that. Where that
would be pretty wild.
Yeah, you don't have to move the chicken tractor. That is simpler than it sounds from a technical perspective. Garden motion detector, soil sensor, beehive monitor, hydroponics, aquaponics, aquaculture. And so I'm thinking that the sky is the limit with this, and there's not much that addresses this, especially from there's nobody that's doing it from a comprehensive, every all-in-one package. So
sure.
Yeah, so I knew a little bit about electronics. I knew a little bit about programming, but I had to learn a ton. I mean, I hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, just problem after problem. But I just kept driving at it. I know I'm going to do this. I got this vision of what I'm going to do. And And then we got the parts shortage, the microchip shortage. I had to change the design multiple times, and change the back end multiple times. It was just a huge. I have a friend I talk to all the time. Say, guess what? I hit another roadblock. It's like incredible. But I'm finally on the right track. We've got now a working prototype. So I was working on that. January 2020. You know what happened in January 2020? COVID.
Yeah.
So,
everyone's favorite.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, as this thing's rolling along, I'm thinking I'm just not going to take and so if my job demands it, what are we going to do? So I said, we need to move out to be with her mom, just to make sure that we're on the safety net, that if I lose my job, we have a place to grow our food, we have a place to be. She's not going to charge us rent. She just wants us to make sure, and we take real good care of her. She lost her license not long after we moved in, so we get to now play driving Miss Daisy. My wife does, so yeah. So it worked out really good. So we're stuck here for now, but there was a lot of sand and ants that when we moved in, but we added things like biochar, and kitty litter is bentonite clay, so you can buy bags of kitty litter that retains moisture in sand. Biochar, hugelkultur, pit compost was a big hit. We could just about put anything into our pit compost and it just come right up.
That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, and so it's a great place to dump our waste, but also start the next crops.
By waste, do you mean food scraps, or do you Okay, I didn't know if you were had like a composting toilet in your RV or something.
We have a composting toilet. Yes, it goes in there as well.
Nice.
Humanure, and so there's rules about humanure that you have to be careful with, but it's just like any other waste.
Sure.
So yeah. So so we're growing that. It's coming along. It's looking good. We've got a lot to do still. I'm planning to put in hybrid solar, which is in between off-grid and on-grid solar, and so that on-grid solar is great for saving money. When the power goes out, so does your solar. So they're tied together, grid tie. And then off-grid solar is great for when the power goes out, but it's not good for saving money. You're replacing batteries a lot. And so hybrid is right between the two. While the sun shines, you save money. When the sun goes down, you're back on the grid. But I figured it was better to have partial solar than no solar. So that would work best in our budget. So we're doing hybrid solar. I'm going to be installing that. We got a well, and mentioned we got the compost toilet. So we're really set up, man. It's really good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I've got more RV questions but for later. I've got a lot more RV questions later.
Go ahead.
So what motivates you to grow your own food?
Yeah, so it was mostly it's just the dark days that we're in. I have a carnivore diet, so I'm not going to be consuming the food unless it's just there's nothing available. So that's a backup plan is to eat the plants. But I recognize that with these dark days, we're going to have a lot of hungry people around us. We are going to be risky ourselves. The grocery stores are already starting to, and so I saw it coming way back in 2007. I expected it by now, and it didn't. So I'm glad I had the extra time. But setting my family up for the future. It's also healthy. If I'm going to eat plants, I'm going to eat stuff I want to grow. I'm going to grow it myself, so I'm glad about that. My family, they don't do carnivore, so I'm growing for them. And so this is just it's an all around. It's great for giving to neighbors. We've already given a few sweet potatoes away, and it's good for helping out, looking out for your brother and your neighbor and your family and your children. So
where are you trading your like sweet potatoes and stuff, or anything to kind of fuel your carnivore diet? So it's kind of like a know your farmer kind of thing.
Oh, that's a great idea. We're not there yet. I just buy the cow directly from a local farm.
Well, there you go.
I could possibly work out some trade in the future. We start getting some things growing in really popping, especially the sweet potatoes. But anything in particular, medicine, she grows. Oh man, I wrote down. I decided not to bore you guys with the list, but she's growing like 100 different kinds of variety of plants. It's a lot.
My wife would be very interested in that. Is your wife on Instagram?
She is on MeWe and on Facebook. She's not on Instagram.
Okay, well maybe we can figure out. You can send me your wife's Facebook, and I can send it to my wife, and because she like just this year, last year, or something like that. She just got into herbs and taking herbal classes and whatever. So
okay,
yeah, we'll figure that out.
I'll tell
but
you.
Yeah, I guess you would need to trade a lot of sweet potatoes.
Yeah,
to get a cow.
Yeah, yeah. But all the possibility is that, and it's not one I haven't ruled out, is that growing our stuff, growing fodder for whatever we want to, animals we want to raise. So I keep going back to sweet potatoes, but their leaves are edible by both humans and rabbits and things. The rabbit here loves it. So we could get that katuk that I showed you that's got high in protein. So mulberry, we got lots and lots of mulberries, and those are great for fodder. So it's an option. I don't yet know how much we can grow for ourselves, and how much we need for the animals. I don't know how, but I think any bit would help. So
yeah. So we've already covered a lot of stuff that works well. There's a lot of things that you're doing that already works well. What doesn't work well for you, or what's failed?
Okay. Well, the first thing I would say is trying to plant things that don't belong here. People try to come in and they'll I love my tomatoes from back home, the mortgage lifters, the Cherokee purple, and you put them in and they just don't like it. And it's not to say you can't do it here, but we're talking about the chronic fatigue guy, the guy who's always tired. What is the easy button for the chronic fatigue guy? And that's to look for those wild edibles that are either growing in the woods or they're native and they've been cultivated and they're very happy here. And so, I'll try to put in some things. Gosh, I don't even remember now, but they just weren't very happy. And then we shifted to, let's see, we got a local permaculture arborist. No, that's what I'm looking for. He's got a nursery, and he's very intelligent, and he knows what he's doing. And he says, this is great in this area. This is going to grow well here. So we got quite a bit from him.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what didn't work well is raised beds. Planting in the ground is best. Wood chips worked somewhat well, but I'd say you need a lot of wood chips and expect to constantly be piling them on. Because, like I said, the sand, and you're working against geology. Just the sand just consumes it. It loves it. Compost on the soil, it's gone. Her mom, before we moved into this area, she was planting in this garden, and she just poured bag after bag of black cow compost on this, and you can't even tell. There's just no. It's like it wasn't even there.
Jeez. So does it break down really fast, or does the sand just consume it, so it just breaks down?
Yeah, it breaks down. There's not a lot to hold it in. So you're dealing with, it's sort of like David Goodman described it like hydroponics. So if you treat it like hydroponics, you dilute your minerals in the water and you water like that. That's another way to do it instead of trying to lay it on the soil. That's the way I haven't yet to try that. Fertigate, fertigating, irrigating, fertigating, where you're diluting your minerals in. So you're treating the soil like it's hydroponics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. Other things I did wrong or just bit off too much on the chronic fatigue. I needed to start with small and do it well. I tried to put in too much last year and I just couldn't keep ahead of it. So I want to, do small, do it well, and replicate. And do it once. Like think permaculture, think permanent, think perennials. And in Florida, again, I'm going back to sweet potatoes. I keep mentioning, but they are just a great plant because in this zone, they are perennial. They come back year after year. You don't have to do anything; they just come right back. I did spend, I think, too much on seedlings, on things. Now I justify that in part by, from the permaculture nursery. I justify that by saying, well, it did save me time. And it will be replicable. I can take this cuttings off of that in the future. So, it's a higher upfront. It will save money in the long run. One thing. Oh, yeah, we had those. You've seen those patio planters that spin. They have like the pockets on all four sides, all sides.
Yes. Yeah, you can stack them up to like 6 feet high or something.
Yeah. They're really cool, and fire ants love them. You put worms in the middle of there, and then the fire ants just come up inside and eat up all the worms.
Sounds like you just got a big tower of ants.
Yeah, you do.
Like I don't know if you remember, like those clear like ant, like acrylic, like ant.
Yeah, the ant
farms, I guess. Yeah.
So in that and worm bins, we tried worm bins, and ants got in there. So I'm going to try to get worm bins again, but put like a moat around it so they can't climb across the moat.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. But
would you ever do like one of them like a bathtub for like a worm bin and then put like a moat around the bathtub or something?
Yeah, David recommends that. So he has a video on doing that, exactly that. He uses an old bathtub. So it's definitely an option, and I would, like you said, put a moat around it. It doesn't even need to be a whole moat around the whole thing. If you've got like 4 legs under it, just each leg needs moat. It needs a moat of motor oil or water. Yeah. So
you put motor oil. So I'm assuming it's in a container. Don't just like dump motor oil in there.
Right down on the ground. Yeah, but I bought moats for my bees for the same reason. It's a little container of motor oil. I think that it needs to be wider, but it has a shield over the top because the bees would fall into that oil and they would die. So it's got a shield. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So those are the kinds of things that we did that didn't do so well.
What would you say the best part about homesteading is?
The best part about homesteading, I just love the beauty. Well, there's not one best thing. I love the beauty when I walk out in the morning, and those pictures I showed. I think of garden pictures kind of like as ugly child pictures. They're really only very beautiful to the person who has the child.
That's kind of true.
At the garden, I just look at that garden and it's so beautiful. And I know I show it to other people and say, yeah, that's nice. But for me, it's just amazing. So I go out there in the morning, first thing in the morning, I just soak up the eye candy. But the other thing I like is I meant to include a picture of my family working together. Let me see if I can. No, I can't find it. Anyway, just the idea that the family is getting into it. My middle son actually used his allowance this year to buy figs and he doesn't get much allowance. So for him to do that instead of buying a Nintendo tells me that there's an interest there, and he really is. He's interested in it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so he's going to pick up that homesteading gene, I think, from his mama. And, so he's out there helping her, and she's out there. We have an autistic daughter, and she sometimes gets out there, and my oldest son gets out there. We're all out there working. There's a little bickering here and there, but we all love each other, and it's just a great time. I do like also tasting the produce. Sometimes I know I'm eating a carnivore diet, but I will cheat a little bit now and then, especially the tomatoes.
You gotta sample the fruits of your labor, right?
Oh man,
It'd be a sin not to.
And the other thing, the last thing I was thinking about, what's great about homesteading is I'm just getting a start on this whole great reset nonsense that is going through. I'm gonna get we're gonna be in a pretty good place. We're gonna be set up and we're gonna be started. We're not gonna be where we need to be, but having been started, while things are relatively calm, is just a great way to go.
Yeah. Just set the table for the hard times, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The practice and the knowledge, and making the mistakes now while it's not critical.
What has been the biggest challenge in homesteading?
Definitely my energy and motivation. Get started and then just it's hard to get peter out. Some days I can only seem to only put in like 5 minutes of work. But if about 2 months ago I got some accountability from my pastor. I put the word out. Hey, I need someone to call every day at the same time every day and face that person and say, yes, I did the exercise, or no, I didn't do the exercise. And that has been the change, a big change for me, just to say, oops. Oh no!
They turn the lights off on you.
Yeah,
that's all right.
I'll move. Yeah, so I call him my pastor every morning for 2 minutes. Say, I did it or I didn't do it, and he's wanting accountability as well. I did it and I didn't do it, and so even just 5 minutes. There's a meme that I posted that just says, no matter how slow you go, you're lapping everyone on the couch.
True.
So I just got to get up and do at least 5 minutes every day something. But yeah, that's just been my biggest challenge is just getting up, and she's motivated, so that helps a lot. She did probably 75% of what you saw, and I've been able to afford with my job to pay for the plants and the starts and the seeds. So we're both in it together, and we're committed, and we're making it happen. But yeah, that was a challenge, and just learning. And with permaculture, I had an interest early on, and I couldn't translate a lot of the ideas into actual use. I would read about it, said, wow, that's really neat. And I'd read it again. That's really neat. But for whatever reason, I couldn't think how to implement it. So that was another challenge, just trying to get the ideas from paper to soil. So.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes time for those kind of things to brew. Almost like meditate on it, almost like it's like a nagging problem, and so you just run it through your head over and over and over, different ways to go about it. Like, how can I make this apply to me? And okay, maybe I need to completely rework my entire thinking. Okay, there it is. I got it. This is what we're gonna do. Kind of.
Yeah.
And then it looks nothing like what the idea was in the first place, but came up with something totally different. But
excellent.
It works. Yeah. So you've brought up chronic fatigue a lot. What exactly do you mean by that?
It started with needing a lot of sleep, finding it very difficult to focus, concentrate, think, motivated. There'd be some days I could only work 15 minutes the entire day. I just couldn't bring myself to get it together. Just sitting on the couch, just can't get up, can't get moving, tired, slothful, everything's dragging. And I'm still occasionally there, but I'm doing a lot better these days.
Good. Is that fixed because of your diet, do you think?
A lot of things. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on different foods and therapies and buckets of vitamins and doctor visits and chiropractors and coffee enemas. So I came down to a few core things that were really important for me. Diet, yes. Let's see. Thyroid was a problem, and I worked with a great doctor, and he allowed me to play with my medicine. I got that worked out, and now I don't even need thyroid medicine. My numbers are perfect. There's a particular. He said you accidentally did a something protocol, and that's you fixed your thyroid somehow. I never heard of anybody doing that, but I no longer need it.
What?
So, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. My doctor is very Western and Eastern medicine. He does both. So he's very open-minded, and he let me play with my dosage, and I jacked it to the sky. I was taking like 10 times what a person would normally take, and then found all of a sudden I didn't need it. I kept lowering it, and I was like normal. And so he said I accidentally did, I think, Wilson's protocol. If you I'll put a note to give you that, and you could put it in the show notes.
Wilson's protocol.
I think that was it. So I'll get the information to you in case someone is curious about that. But thyroid, testosterone, devotion to proper sleep. That has been a big one. I wear a mask. I keep the room cool.
What, like a CPAP or an eye mask?
No, eye mask.
Okay.
They tried to CPAP, and I threw it off, and I'm glad I didn't. I really don't want to be dependent on that kind of thing. Cut out all electronics. Just dedicated to getting a quality, good sleep, and that was a big fight because I was such a night owl.
Any like melatonin, valerian root, magnesium?
Nope.
Nothing like that.
No, just practices. Just doing
red light therapy.
I was going to bring the glasses. I have these glasses that I wear after sunset that look like Bono from U2, and they're orange. They look like blue block. They're blue blockers. They block out all blue light, and that stimulates the brain. And so I wear that just after sunset, and it starts to help me calm down and to relax, and things like that.
I might need some of that.
Yeah. I just picked up some grounding sheets, so I'm going to try those and see how those do.
What's that mean?
No, they're silver impregnated sheets, and they have silver thread that runs through them, and they connect to the ground in a power outlet, and that connects to the ground in the ground. And what that does is that any positive electrons it grounds your body, and it feels like a cave, is what they say.
Weird. I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah. So it's like when you're out gardening, take off your shoes.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. It's the same idea. Yeah, it's the same idea. Just now you're sleeping with that. So, it's called grounding. And they're not expensive. They're like, I paid like $50 for a sheet. A little more expensive than I would pay for a bed sheet, but not too bad. So, devotion to zero caffeine, none at all, not even decaf. Just zero caffeine. Because decaf even has enough caffeine stimulant to cause problems. The regular morning exercise, waking with the sun, looking at the sun, and the first thing in the morning as the sun rises. And then the other thing I would, it's probably a little controversial, but I'm a born-again Christian, so I spent a lot of time talking about my concerns and my issues with my good Father, and I have a great relationship with my Savior Jesus. And so I pray, and I've noticed that in this time, in this trial, that it's weird. When I feel awful, the load for that day is not very heavy. There's not too much to do. And when I feel great, there's more to do. So the load has been matching my energy level in ways that I can anticipate. So that's been neat to watch. that has taught me to really trust in the Lord in trials. And I've learned to drop the perfectionism. Don't have to get it perfect. You saw the weeds in the picture.
Sure.
Yep. And I would give advice to somebody who, if they're just exhausted and they see this, they want to go get a garden. I would say when you're really, really tired, spend more time thinking, reading, listening, watching, observing nature, learning about gardening, because knowledge is a energy, money, time saver. So when you're just zapped and you don't feel like getting up and moving, start to look at YouTube videos to understand what your next step will be when you do have energy, so that you're not spinning your wheels, wasting a lot of time. So, man, I consumed a lot of videos and books and things like that when I was just exhausted. So
sure, yeah.
And then take some shortcuts. I bought seedlings. I'm unsure whether that was why I would have. If I was saving money, I would have just bought seeds, or I would have got cuttings from people. But I bought seedlings, and they're only $3, $6, but it adds up after a while. So, do a small section and do it really well, so that you know how to replicate that one small section, and that way it's not over. You're not doing too much at once. Trying to take on too much. So that's why I would talk about the fatigue if you're trying to do this.
Yeah, it can get overwhelming, but your case was definitely interesting because it needed a lot of fixing, is what it sounded like, before you could really do anything.
Yep, I was dragging my butt. It felt like get up and from the couch, it felt like 50 pounds on my shoulders at all times.
Weird.
It just felt awful. So
I wonder if there's like a societal problem there. Like that's more common than people want to lead on or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Our world is set up for draining energy out of people, draining life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I like talking to people like this.
Yeah.
Seeing people that do stuff like that gives, like, seeing other people do stuff gives me energy. Like, they're doing this thing, I'm gonna go do my thing or whatever. Like, or I'm gonna do a little bit of their thing, or
all right.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just inspiring, I guess. Like seeing like your garden looks awesome. Mine looks like crap, so it makes me inspired to do better, take better care of it, I guess. Or
but you've got a garden. I
guess I do.
Yeah,
kind of.
Just start with that. I've got a garden. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. So
that's true. Do you want to talk about what do you do if you're strapped for cash?
Yeah. I would initially, as we discussed, I was going to say that this conversation would be, survival regenerative gardening for the chronic fatigued and the cash strapped. And I realized I made some kind of awkward decisions that would make that an awkward way to explain it. But I still wrote down some of the ideas because, that is so important to me. I wanted to do years ago when I first got into this. I would like to learn ways to then teach others to not be so dependent on this system. And you can't do that if you're spending just buckets of money. So I'm going to make a suggestion. This is the opposite of Jack Spirko. He says, buy your calories and grow your nutrition. I would say in a survival situation, I want to grow, and I've read about this in people in survival situations, I want to grow my calories. That's harder. You need more land for that. But the whole reasoning behind that is because you can fill in the gaps a lot of times with nutrition, with foraging, multivitamin, trading. And the other thing I've discovered is that it seems to me that some of the nutritional plants are easier to grow than the calorie plant crops. Especially the root calorie crops. They seem to be the easiest.
Sure.
So, putting a little herb in a pot is beautiful, and it's easy, and it's not too expensive, and it's not too hard. So I would go with your calories. Look in your region for what are your calorie staple crops. Some places it's going to be regular potatoes, and some places it's going to be corn. For us, it's the yams, it's the sweet potatoes, it's those kinds of things. So whatever the calorie crop, the book by Jeavons, How to Grow More Vegetables, has a chart. You can download this if you look up the book How to Grow More Vegetables, and I can even send you a link to it. There is a public domain copy where you can look at the charts they have for what is the square footage that you're going to get out of what is the pounds you're going to get per square foot for each of these crops. And I just went through the list and said, oh, okay, so the sweet potato for us. And then I went and calculated, what are the calories per pound. So when you do that, you kind of come up with, okay, then I need a lot, this many to meet our basic needs.
Sure. That's awesome.
Yeah. Let me send you that link to the Jeavons book.
Do you have more cash-strapped ideas?
Yes, I do. So I would get with. I would look out and try to find as many permaculturists as you can, because they're going to have an abundance of cuttings. They're going to have the stuff that's happy in your region, and that's going to be easy. It's going to be not a lot of inputs required, and so I would start with that. Just start searching out who the permaculturists around you. I would get the app on the what is it on the Android? Let me see. Oh, I don't have PlantNet.
Oh, I think I've heard of that one.
PlantNet, and on iOS, picture this, and you mentioned one on the earlier. I want to check out, but get that and start to find out what's around you that you've already got, and growing that you didn't know that a dandelion is edible.
Yeah,
I didn't know that that cattails taste like celery. So
not the fuzzy part.
Yeah, not the fuzzy part. That tastes like a corn dog.
No, it doesn't. Shut up.
That's a meme.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would look for, and I would focus on seeds. I would not do so many cuttings. The other thing I would do would be to find a forest and use the soil from the forest. You're not going to only get, you're not going to just get your soil, but it's been built up over time with that fungus, with that bacteria, with the mulch, with a lot of great crap that's just been, laying on the ground. And it's just be great, and it's free. Just go out and scoop it, In fact, I wrote an article. There was a lady who nearby was really suffering, and I said they had trouble with their job and stuff like that. And they were reaching out for help. And I said, I want this person to not only have the help, but I want them to also be informed. So I wrote them a letter about how to do this. I would I told them, get a single sweet potato, get forest soil, get a bucket, replicate it. You will be able to do that again and again and again and again. So yeah, I would look for that. I would practice composting and not just composting. I would also practice leaf compost, which is a more fungal dominated kind of a compost, because compost, the traditional compost, is bacterial dominated, but our soil likes fungus as well, as it grows more into a forest. So your leaf molds are excellent for starting that progression into a forest. I would look for used tools on Craigslist or flea markets, or just ask, hey, I really could use a hose. Anybody got a hose? I would, especially if I were in the city, I would borrow land, or I would guerrilla garden. So, you got neighbors who got a little bit of a property, offer to grow and tend a garden on their property, and in exchange, give them half the produce. I'm sure you'll find many people who would take that offer.
That's kind of like Curtis Stone, ain't it?
Is that what he does?
At least that's how he got started. He would
Okay.
farm, like urban spin farming or whatever they call it, like farm other people's property and give them a cut.
I would guerrilla garden, so I would go out into the woods and I would put things in the ground that people wouldn't expect to be in the forest. That don't need a lot of attention. They walk right by a potato leaf, they wouldn't know what it looks like. They just see it.
That's true.
Yep. I would make traps. I would study like Dave Canterbury on YouTube. He's got a lot of videos on making traps. So we're talking about now husbandry, animal husbandry. I would for ourselves, there's tons of Muscovy ducks around here, and Muscovies are an excellent duck for raising. In many respects, they're very hardy. They're good at being broody. They taste good, so they're just a great all-around duck to raise. And they just are everywhere. At least in our area, I don't know about your area, but around here, Muscovies are just crazy. Am I saying Muscovy? No, Muscovy is the
Muscovy. I've heard it both ways.
That's the ones that have the red bar on their head. Yeah, because that's the right one. It's the Muscovy duck. And then I would just, if you're cash strapped, I would just learn. Just get a $3. David the Goods books are on Kindle, and you don't need a Kindle to read Kindle books. A lot of people don't realize that. So you can get his books for like $3, $5, and just read, watch YouTube. Just because knowledge is a very good ROI. You can learn something, and you might even take you. I paid $100 for a permaculture book, and I consider that to be a good investment. So, yeah. Let's see. I would do biochar, which is taking wood chip, and David's got a video on that. I would do wood hugelkultur, where you're burying wood. Green leaves, I would capture the grass that's coming out. Careful with grass, make sure it's not been sprayed. But leaves are good to use for compost. So I would listen to people like Jack Spirko, although he'll tempt you. He mentioned the deal on those water pond pumps, and I had to get 3 of them. So Jack will tempt you.
That's true. That's true.
I would look around for native flowers as pollinators, like we have the bahia grass that grows up. And I would ask around, and I would propagate. I would get cuttings and seeds and ideas and knowledge. And the best thing I would tell yourself is, if you're doing this, just tell yourself, I will kill things. Just say it. Just go ahead and admit it. I will kill things. I will kill plants. And that'll get you over the emotional, worrying so much about, oh man, I'm not going to do great with this plant. Just you're going to kill things. You just are. You just admit it before you even comes to it. That way you don't have to worry about it.
That's true. I will say on the seedlings, on starting from seed versus getting like seedlings and transplanting them, that starting from seed's hard.
Okay.
I think it's hard. Maybe I'm dumb, and which is fine. But
no.
I definitely neglected my plants, like my seeds, this year, and they're not doing as well as last year. So like, what if you, for people that kind of have like apprehensive about starting from seed because it's harder, maybe you could, like we talked about a little bit earlier, like barter or trade or help in their garden. And then you could they'll just, we went over to a neighbor's for breakfast like a couple weeks ago, and they're new to the area, and we were just they just showed us our garden, and they had us take home just 8 plants. They just gave them to us because they had too many.
That's neat.
Sweet.
That's
Thanks.
good.
So I mean, gardeners, homesteaders, farmers, they're all quite generous. They're just take this.
Especially with zucchini.
That's true. Wasn't there like a National Zucchini Day or whatever, where
Yeah.
it's like leave a zucchini on your neighbor's porch or something?
Right.
Well, wrapping up here, what do you want to tell people that want to get started?
Yeah. So if anyone wants to get started, just start. You're gonna kill something, but what you're gonna get out of it right away, especially if you can start getting, 1 or 2 meals have something that you grew, you're gonna get an itch for it. You're gonna be like, oh, you know what? I put the tomatoes in the salad, and that was really cool. I could do now some bok choy, you know. I could do some lettuce and things. So I just start. You're gonna get the taste. Oh man, homegrown tomatoes are like I sat and calculated one day. Homegrown tomatoes are exactly 28.34 times tastier than the stuff you buy in the store. So yeah, I figured that out with the calculator.
Huh.
No.
I was like, I wonder what the algorithm was. It wouldn't like I wouldn't put it past you to actually like come up with some formula to figure that out. I'm not gonna lie.
No, right. No. That's my little joke. No, but you just start. You get the taste, the nutrition. I mean, anything grown that even at Whole Foods is going to be deficient because they have to plant it for. They have to select the crops that are best to transport and survive on the shelf, not necessarily the ones that are most nutritious and best tasting. So when you do it yourself, I don't care how badly you do it, it's still going to be better in nutrition than anything in the store. And your self-sufficiency, you get started on your own, and it's one less meal or ingredient that you had to buy.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost more at first. There's a book that was written called The $64 Tomato, where a guy calculated, all right, this tomato I got is great, but after all the expense I put into it, it cost $64. And that was like 15 years ago. So, it'd be a $200 tomato.
$1,000.
Yeah, $1,000. But yeah, just go at it. John Moody had advice. He said, pick 2 things you can do per week for 2 years. Your life will look completely different. But it's the kind of change that you can digest. So just
2 things a week for 2 years, like 2 different things.
Yeah,
so,
2 things. 2 new things.
What's that, like 104 things?
Yeah.
After 2 years? Okay. Yeah. I was like, wait, do you just do the same 2 things every week for 2 years?
No. Yeah. So that way you're not biting off more than you can chew,
Sure.
But you're picking up some new things, and your life will be just radically different. And the other thing I would say is if you're like me, you're just tired. But maybe you're tight on money, but still just do it. Just start to read about it, start to watch the videos and get excited about it. And think about that first tomato. That first tomato is like gold. That first one that pops off the plant that you grew, you put in your mouth, and it's like liquid sunshine. It's amazing. And I don't care how small it is or how mealy it is. And it's your ugly baby. It's your ugly baby. You love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look around for those staple survival crops that are good for your area. Use the soil from the forest. Don't be afraid to move far away from the city. I still keep my 9-to-5 job by commuting in, and I sleep in the van, and you can do that. That's a way to do it, so that you don't have to, buy one that's near the city. You can buy something that's a little further out. Save a lot of money. We're just coming into harder times where you just have to make decisions like that. So, yeah. So those are the kinds of things I would suggest. Books by there's a book by Ann Ralph called "Grow a Little Fruit Tree," and it's about pruning.
Nice.
How to keep your fruit trees from going too large. And as mentioned, David Goodman, or David the Good, and he's on YouTube, and he's got books and things. John Moody has a book, The Frugal Homesteader. And Suzanne Ashworth has a book called Seed to Seed. So those are the things I would suggest. Yeah.
Those are great references. That sounds good. Looking at coming back to SecureCoop, it looks like you have a early bird pre-sale going on.
Yep.
Can we talk about this a little bit? So
Absolutely.
It's the initial thing is $78. What's included in that?
That is the monitor only. So a lot of people already have coop door openers and they just like to keep an eye on it. And so that one version, that's the first one that's going to come out. It lacks a motor. It's only just for monitoring what you already have. So, you get alerts in the morning and alerts in the afternoon. And it has the server heart beating, and it has all of the backups and the redundancy. And being that I work in IT, I protect servers that, run transactions in the billions of dollars. So I have to make sure that these servers never crash. And so I was able to develop this in such a way that I can give my customers a no lost birds guarantee. If they ever lose, if there's ever an issue that comes up that I don't notify them of, and as a result of that they lose their flock, I will replace their entire flock.
That's a wild guarantee. Yeah. Like I don't think anyone else can match that. Yeah.
I can't do
or even offers
enormous flocks, but a flock of 10 birds. I may extend that. In fact, I think I will extend that to 20 birds. So I'm going to update the website and say 20 bird flock. But it's one of those things that I feel confident that I will notify the user. Now, what they do with that notification is on them. But sure. I'm going to keep a record of the notification. Then I did send it to you, that sort of thing.
Sure. Dang, dude, that's crazy. I did see that little note, and I was like, "What? Is he serious?"
I'm serious. I'll replace the whole flock.
That's cool. So let's say I have nothing. So $78, door types, like add the motor.
Yep.
For $220, and a self-locking coop door for $34.20.
All right.
I'm assuming your laptop died.
Yeah, my battery. I thought I had more time than I did.
So we were talking about the coop. I added basically just everything to my cart. Let's see, and the coop door.
Yep.
And so for the SecureCoop monitoring, the motor, the self-locking coop door, and the monthly subscription that's annually, I'm looking at $322.70 one time, and then $65 a year for the monitoring. So the monitoring, if I choose none monitoring, then I don't get those notifications, and that first thing doesn't do me any good. The actual
right, yeah. There's no reason at all to buy just the monitoring only piece without monitoring.
Okay.
Useless. There will be some people who will balk at paying a monthly fee, and I get that, and so I wanted to give them at least something. And so it works on a timer like a dumb opener. So.
Oh, okay. I've seen some with a timer, some with a photo cell, some.
Right. So there's pros and cons. What I do with that is I take when they set it up initially, the phone has does a GPS lookup and says, okay, this is where I am.
Okay.
I do get the sunrise and the sunset times for that location, program it, download it to the coop.
Cool. So then it would change daily then, right?
Yep. Yeah, it changes daily with the sunrise, with the seasons. It changes. It opens and closes on a schedule, and that was because I saw the ones with the lights with the photocell. They can be tricked by bright lights or by cars passing by.
Shadows,
or if shadows or a cloudy day, and the timer, you've got to either program each, the timer to work with the changing seasons, or you just put up with it. So I said,
that's a good point.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, because it would be super easy to throw on a photo cell because it's just like, well, it's just all right there. It's all integrated in the thing. But then you're not accounting for, all those factors that you just mentioned. That makes a lot of sense. So,
and it probably would work, 90% of the time, and I would have an alerting if it didn't work. But why go to that trouble when I know your location from the phone? I can just go 100% and just download the entire table for the entire year into the device. It works offline, so if your internet goes down, it's still going to open and close on schedule.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so when will this be available?
Later this year, I think. I've been bad at estimating. I thought it would be ready a while ago, but I think now a lot of the major hurdles have passed, and I should be able to get it out later this year. I'm hoping because the start of the buying, people start to look for this kind of thing December 15. I found it on the search trends. So December 15 would be ideal if I can get it in before then. So.
Nice. Well, we'll definitely plug your stuff again when it does get released.
Thank you, and because I'm having a pre-sale, I am offering your customers a $20 coupon.
Thank you.
Just type in the coupon is FarmHopLife Rocks.
All right, FarmHopLife Rocks. I like it.
FarmHopLife Rocks, and if any of them are Jack Spirko Member Support Brigade, there is a coupon there.
They pay double.
Yeah, and I think I set that to 16%. I like playing with weird numbers, 16%. And then the other coupon is if you get on the mailing list. I got an early bird coupon that I'm going to be sending out. So you can combine all three of those. I have four fingers. Combine all three of those. Combine all three of those coupons, and you'll be able to save a lot of money.
I just signed up for your thingy that it popped up in the corner. It's like 40 SecureCoop tips. And I was like, hey, I want to know 40 SecureCoop tips. So
so
signed up for that.
Go to the website SecureCoop.com, and there's like you just did, and there is a sign up to get on for the ebook. You can get a free ebook that I wrote about coop protection, all the different ways I've found of protecting coop.
That's awesome, man. I'll be sure to have links for SecureCoop, plus all of your social media links: MeWe, Facebook, Twitter, Gab, and Flote. So I will make sure to add all of that. And just hang tight for a second. We'll chat a little bit more. I appreciate you joining me tonight, and it's been a lot of fun. I learned a lot.
It's been a lot of fun.
I really wild.
What's that?
It's been wild. Just all the crazy different things you've experienced. It's been crazy for me.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah. So
thanks for the opportunity to talk about it.
You're welcome. We'll talk to you later.
That was a really fun interview with Christopher. I learned a lot and laughed a little at some of his ant misfortunes, but he's a great guy with a wonderful spirit. Check out his site, SecureCoop.com, and the promo code is FarmHopLifeRocks. That's nice of him to set that up for us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and most importantly, share this video. Check out our website, FarmHopLife.com. Sign up for our email list or Telegram channel there to be notified when new videos, interviews, and podcasts are available. We are on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, MeWe, and Flote, kind of. Send me a message at farmhoplife.com/contact, or you can email me anytime, matt@farmhoplife.com. I'm always looking for new people to interview. If you want to come on to talk about homesteading, farming, food security, homeschooling, regenerative agriculture, alternative building methods, or whatever, pitch me an idea. Go to farmhoplife.com/guest. Go feed yourself. Inside of the city, the people are crazy. Out of their minds, they ain't got a clue. We gone away, headed west for Montana. Left family and friends, all I got now is you.
We both got new jobs, a house and a homestead, thinking this was the life, all that there'd be. After our firstborn, you had to stay home. That's when the work got in the way for me. Well, I started FarmHopLife. We'll come to your farm to help and to wander. Me and the family, a truck and an RV. Send us a message and there